So as is pretty obvious by now, Dragon Power has a few pretty popular brands in the game like Pagani, Koenigsegg, and Nissan, and we just recently got Bentley in the game. But there is still a lot of really popular brands that are not in the game yet. So the question is, when could we see these brands come into the game, or could they even come into the game at all? Like, do they even have that possibility, or like, do they even have a chance of coming to the game? So let's go ahead and let me go ahead and get my speculation. Or just FYI, this is my speculation, my opinion, my thoughts. So you do not have to agree with me. So feel free to slam me if you want to. Oh god. And yeah, let's go ahead and get into it. So I split these up into 3 sections. So I split it up into what I think would not be possible, or like not possible at all. And then another section which would be for cars, like for brands that would be like it might be possible, but just it'll be very, very difficult. And then we have our last section, which is pretty possible to come to the game. So let me go ahead and give my opinion. So we're gonna start off with the cars, alright, with the brands that are like probably never ever coming. And I think a very obvious one is none other than Ferrari. Now obviously everyone knows that Ferrari is very, very strict when it comes to licensing. You can almost not do anything. But yeah, having Ferrari in the game would almost like not be possible whatsoever. It's like they are a very strict company when it comes to licensing. Like there's probably like specific things you got to do or something like that. You like probably got to promote the cars or like show off the cars in like a special event or something like that with like a specific cutscene. It's like it's just gonna be very, very difficult to license a brand like Ferrari. Like I don't think it will ever be possible. Not to say it is fully impossible. Maybe there's like a very, very slim chance it could happen, but like I'm pretty sure it's pretty obvious at this point that Ferrari is probably never ever happening. Now let's go ahead and talk about our next brand on this section, Toyota. Now I know I've talked about Toyota a lot on this channel about it being licensed and how it probably can't be licensed, stuff like that. And why is it probably a high chance that it's not ever going to get licensed? Now I've said this in the past. It's because Toyota has obviously sent a message out in the past about like who they associate themselves with, and stuff like that. It's like street racing and going fast and stuff like that on public roads and street racing. So Toyota just apparently doesn't want to be associated with that. But apparently Toyota has kind of like had like a back and forth relationship with like who can license their cars and stuff like that or whatever. Like obviously Forza has it, Gran Turismo has it. But I mean there is a few games, like I mean Forza has them, and that's pretty much driving fast on public roads and street racing pretty much. So I mean I don't really know what could happen with Toyota. I think maybe it's possible, maybe not. I just kind of lean towards a little bit more like it's not possible. I feel like. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I think they kind of have like an off and on situation somewhat. So maybe they could get licensed, maybe they won't. But in my opinion, I think it leans towards more it's not possible. Now the last brand on this section, I'm probably going to get flamed for, not gonna lie. But just hear me out. So the last brand on this section is Rolls-Royce. So you're probably thinking, AGB, we've literally just got freaking Bentley. Why could they not do Rolls-Royce? Apparently, from what I've seen, I've done just a little bit of research. I did a little bit of research. Apparently, from what I've seen, Rolls-Royce is very strict as well, kind of like Ferrari. Rolls-Royce is very strict with how their cars are promoted in games. Obviously, Rolls-Royce is known for their luxurious cars, and they apparently their cars are fairly fast. I mean, some of their cars are like 200 miles an hour, or at least Dragon Power used to set them as that, but they went 200 miles an hour in a game. I mean, really just think about it. Rolls-Royce, like a Rolls-Royce being used as a freaking modified vehicle and stuff like that, if that makes sense. Yeah, apparently Rolls-Royce doesn't want you like doing any like specific modifications to your cars in games or something like that. So like obviously body kits wouldn't be an option, but apparently if you were to like max up your car, like upgrade the car performance wise and stuff like that, apparently Rolls-Royce has a problem with that, I guess. And if it did happen, then Rolls-Royce would probably have to have a whole like separate event to where it shows off their luxurious details and stuff like that. So I'm not too sure if that's true or not. That's just based off of what I've seen, what I've heard and stuff like that. But I mean, it could happen, it could not. I'm not too sure. Just take what I say with a grain of salt. So yeah. So basically, unless Driving Empire literally like limits how fast the cars go or something like that, or like completely does not allow performance upgrades or anything like that, or they have to make a whole separate event. That just does not sound like something that Giant Empire would or could do. So unless there's a little bit of negotiating that could happen with Rolls-Royce, I don't think Rolls-Royce could ever happen. But like I said, I'm not saying it's entirely true. That's just my speculation. So please take it with a grain of salt. Now let's go ahead and talk about cars that would be difficult. Not entirely like fully impossible, just difficult. So we're gonna start off with Lexus. I already talked about Toyota, and as we should already know, if you guys know cars very well, you guys would know that Lexus is owned by Toyota. So technically they would have to get the permission from Toyota, I guess, to be able to license Lexus. I think that's how that works. So Lexus, I think, would be very difficult. I'm not too sure. I mean, maybe there could be some negotiating that could happen. I'm not entirely, I don't know. Maybe it's possible, maybe it's not. So that's why I was kind of tempted to put it on difficult. I kind of wanted to put it more on the like impossible side, but I mean it's kind of like a different brand somewhat, but Toyota still owns them, so it's like they kind of got to go through Toyota to be able to get Lexus. So I'm not too sure. I'm kind of on the fence. I mean, you guys give your honest opinions about what you guys think Lexus, like what could happen with Lexus. If they don't have to go through Toyota, then I think Lexus could maybe be kind of possible, maybe with a little bit of negotiating. I think it could be possible. I mean, pointing out some of their like sporty-ish models, obviously we got the Lexus LFA, which is like one of the best that's probably the best sounding car ever made. I mean, you got the Lexus RCF, you got the LC500. I mean, you got cars like that, some of the like sporty vehicles. So there's some, I mean, obviously those haven't like appeared in many games. I think it's just a little bit more difficult with Giant Empire though, because it's more of a no, not simulation. What the heck am I saying? It's more of an arcadey style game, and I think some games just don't want their cars being put into arcadey. I think they want their games in more like realistic somewhat games, I guess you could say. So like Gran Turismo, Forza, Need for Speed, like they want their cars to be promoted in like really realistic games. Obviously Giant Empire isn't a arcadey game, so technically I mean you kind of see what I mean. So that's the thing, that's why some of these brands are just like really difficult to get, because some games just don't want their cars promoted but in like really arcadey games. Some games are fine though, which we'll get onto those in a little bit later. I'll speak more on this in like just a second after we talk about our next brand, Maserati. So apparently Maserati, it also has a few it's a kind of a cautious brand as well when it comes to licensing apparently. So I'm not going to talk too much about this because it's kind of similar to like the brands we already talked about. It's just a very cautious brand. Like they're normally open apparently from what I've heard. Apparently they are a open brand when it comes to licensing, but they're still pretty cautious. So Maserati is like I mean, it kind of just depends what they feel like. I think with Driving Empire, maybe it could be possible. I mean, it's arcadey. I'm not too sure though. I think they're fine with arcadey games. I think it's just more so like how the cars are implemented, I think. So I'm not too sure. I mean, again, I'm kind of on the fence with this one as well. So give your honest opinions about what you guys think Maserati, like what could happen with Maserati. All right, now literally I have like probably 20 brands to talk about at once here. So these are all the brands that are possible. Okay, so Honda, Mercedes, Ford, Shelby, Lamborghini, BMW, Aston Martin, Dodge, Volkswagen, Mazda, Bugatti, Subaru, and Mitsubishi. All of those brands are kind of in like the same category, and they're all really like relatively like pretty open brands. Like they're pretty open with licensing, so that's why they're kind of all in like the same category. So getting licensing for these ones I think would be very possible. A pretty surprising one is actually Bugatti. I was actually kind of surprised to know that Bugatti was fairly open with licensing. I mean, they appear in a lot of games. I mean, I think they actually appear in Need for Speed if I'm not wrong. But I mean, yeah, they're in Gran Turismo, they're in Forza, which Forza is kind of the main one because like it's the most similar you'll get to Driving Empire, I guess. Because like obviously driving on public roads, speeding on public roads, breaking down stuff, you know, etc. But Bugatti is apparently pretty open. I think they do have a little bit of a cautious kind of whatever. I think they are a little bit cautious, but I think for the most part they're pretty open. So Bugatti could possibly happen. And like with Mazda, Mitsubishi, and stuff like that, yep, you guys will get your Evos. Hopefully, you guys will get your RX-7s, your RX-8. No one likes the RX-8. Why am I even bringing that thing up? I'll get y'all's Imprezas as well. That'll be super freaking sick, hopefully. Get the BMW M5, M4, M3, M2, and M1 would be sick. Oh, and the M1 GT or whatever it is. Oh, that would be so freaking amazing. And of course, for the American fanboys, you get your Shelby GT500s and 350s out and stuff like that. Your Challengers, your Demons, your Demon 170 and stuff. And then of course, you got your pretty generic brands. Volkswagen, get a Golf GTI in here. Oh man, that would be so cool. Got Mercedes, maybe get a SLR McLaren, Mercedes AMG and stuff like that. Oh, maybe COK GTR, maybe, possible. Now let me go ahead and just quickly, because I know I'm going to get absolutely like asked this a lot, so let me go ahead and confirm this. Lamborghini is not licensed. They partnered up with Driving Empire. It is a partnership, not a licensing. Let me go ahead and just say that there is a difference. And for Aston Martin, you get a DB11 and stuff like that. You get your V12 Vantage and stuff. What is that one car called? The DB11 Superleggera? Is that what that is? Get the Aston Martin 177, bro. Oh my gosh, if Aston Martin gets a license, please bring that car to the game. Now, I think the one thing that is mainly going to be questioned, when are these brands coming? So brands like Ferrari, let me just go ahead and say Ferrari for the most part, just like Ferrari alone, so not with Toyota. Ferrari, I don't think would ever come. So if it did come, then it would be a long time before we see it. It would have to be maybe like the end of this year. Like, I'm not even kidding. It'll probably be the end of 2025 or sometime in 2026. Like, it's either going to be a long time or it's never happening. Toyota may take a while as well. It just depends if they actually want to cooperate with the arcadey style game. So with Toyota, I think it just varies. So we could probably see it in maybe a few months. So maybe like mid this year or late this year. Now with the cars that are just difficult, not necessarily impossible, but difficult, I think we could see Maserati. I think we could maybe see that in like the coming few months or so. Maybe another 2, 3, maybe like 2 to 4 months. I could see that happening. And Lexus, again, it just depends if they have to get Lexus through Toyota. So depending on if it's going to have to be licensed through Toyota or not, I could see it happening either very early or very late. And all these other brands that are like very possible to happen, I think these could happen pretty soon. I think the latest one that would happen would be Bugatti. I think Bugatti will probably be the latest out of all of them. So with Bugatti, because I know that's probably going to be the most hyped one in this entire list. So Bugatti, I think, would probably happen a little bit later this year. I mean, let's just keep in mind that last year we got Nissan and stuff like that, and we got Koenigsegg this year. So let's just kind of compare that with like this year. Like, let's just think of like the bigger brands we're getting now, and then we're just going to keep on getting bigger brands. So I'm putting this into perspective. We started off with like, I mean, obviously we started off with Pagani, but other than Pagani, we got like these very small brands like Noble, TVR, and like all these brands that like almost no one knew. And then we started getting to like the very big brands like Nissan, Koenigsegg, McLaren, like these very iconic brands. So if we're going to get iconic brands like a lot more this year, then I mean, I can only imagine how like the super popular brands or super like iconic brands we're beginning at like the end of this year. That's basically my whole look and my whole like perspective on things. So everyone's gonna have a different opinion. I'm not saying my opinion is true or like, oh, you should believe me because okay, cool. Like, I'm not saying anyone should believe me or take my word of advice or anything like that. I'm not saying that or anything like that. Believe what you want. If you don't believe what I say, or if you don't think what I'm saying is cool or anything, then literally just feel free to dislike this video and go watch someone else. But yeah, that is pretty much it. I think that's going to be all. So yeah, comment down below what you guys think about my list. What do you think about my opinions and stuff like that. Again, take my opinions with a grain of salt. They're not confirmed. I'm not saying any of this is true. This is just my speculation on things, so don't worry, it's not gonna be happening or anything like that. Well, it's not confirmed to be happening, but I think it has a pretty decent chance. So just expect some things. But yeah, that's gonna be pretty much it. If you guys find this video enjoyable or anything like that, or informational or anything, I don't know, then of course leave a like, subscribe my channel, follow me on Twitter, and join my Discord server, and join my Roblox group. All these things in the description. Have a good day, everyone, and peace.